All right. Mike, Paul, or Pat comment.
Everything going live. You've got your agendas, and whenever I send your agendas in the email now, you'll be able to, on the agenda part, click links, and it'll take you to each site instead of having all the different packets. So we're standardizing things, so it's like town council. You'll also have all your minutes uploaded to the website, as well as the video will be connected, just like it is for planning board, town council, etc. So we're just standardizing our processes. So thank you guys for your patience.
Ready? We have the minutes that need to approve the motion to approve the minutes of.
I make a motion to approve them, not that it matters, but I approve them.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Old business. Hazard prevention orders. I think we made it very clear in our recommendations to town council that we wanted agriculture mention. Make good progress at one time, and then finally it out not to have an overall agriculture mention. It's not exactly what we would like to see, but it's what it is, I think. But I don't know if there's any other input, comment.
What would we have wanted that we didn't get?
Overall,
We're still gonna fall under a lot of regulations. Under this board that we didn't think we was gonna fall under with full extent. Am I right?
I think you can look at it as a lot. I don't know.
Well, a lot may be the wrong word, but yeah.
It is in the floodway. There is where the problem is, and I know you mentioned irrigation pumps.
Yeah.
Everything that's there is fine. You can maintain it. You can repair it. But you cannot put up something new in the floodway
Without engineer plan,
Yeah, and then
no ride.
permits.
no
I'm not
ride.
sure we can put it anywhere.
Well, now, you might be right, Wayne. I don't know.
I actually, I want the zoning administrator to tell us what we can do. If we got a structure out there, can we expand? But especially,
Yeah, my concern is like I got that one drip pump. They're so expensive now. I'm covering them, which I'm getting ready to do to the one over here right on the river, and I move it. You know what I mean? It don't sit out there all winter. Does that mean if I move it when I bring it back, do I have a problem? Being it's gone off the piece of property for
I
6
think
months
we'll have
in
to
the
have
floodway?
an engineer plan put up the grade your spot, put up a cover.
Well, it's graded. I just need to build it. Like I did at Ruby's, that.
I understand that, but I don't know whether that'll be a engineered certification or whether you can just do it.
If I look at that summary sheet, allowed new ag structures outside of the floodway.
you're talking about the.
Yeah.
Which like I put out, which I don't do it in the river no more. But I used to, put me a 250-gallon tote inside my drip and put it out right there.
We do it all the time.
Yeah. A lot of the other farmers, I went to the field deal, but had somebody wanted to get mad at you. They could shut you down on water right there, I think. And then what if you want to put a new drip pump? Say I rent a piece of property, I river, and put it on the river. Okay.
Question I have, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, we have these ag advisory meetings. We take time out of our busy schedule, take time out of our day. And I appreciate this young lady being here. Thank you for being here and helping us out this morning. But where's town staff? Why are they not in this meeting? So if we have questions, for instance, Wayne just mentioned the zoning administrator. Why are they not in this meeting? I know they're busy and got a lot to do, but so are we. That would be my question is when we have these meetings, we need town staff to be present, I think. I will say I'm very disappointed. 2 town council meetings ago, I stood up and asked them to really consider going back to when the town was formed, and it's always been stated over and over again that about when the town incorporated, that they made it very clear that that incorporation would not have negative or adverse effect on agriculture. And I'm worried that we're getting away from that. There seems to be, I'm disappointed in the decision that was made, and I'm disappointed that I would like for some of these town council members to get in my vehicle, let me take them out here on some of these farms and educate them, show them, teach them why we do what we do. Kirby would be more than glad. Each one at this table would be more than glad to spend some time. How many of you have had one-on-one interaction with those council members, or them asking or wanting to go out and look and see, for example, Kirby's irrigations plan, my irrigation plan, some of these other things that we're doing. If they have problems, and it's my understanding that they've had a problem with some of the field that has gone on under ag exemption, that they think that's been abused, we need to have that discussion. But the way this is set up, they're punishing all of us, and they're really making it hard on us to conduct business like we always have. I can't grow a crop without an irrigation system on the river. We have to be, these are federally designed fertigation systems. Kirby will tell you it's not easy. It costs us a lot of money. And basically if we go by the book here, we're opening it up for anyone can file a complaint at any time and really make it hard on us. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in the current council. I think we as farmers have got to be more involved. We've got to make sure that we're electing the right people. I'm disappointed in some of them that I campaigned for and helped elect. I personally asked them, I said, are you going to be a supporter of agriculture? Are you going to uphold that ag exemption? I was told that they would. Well, they're not. So I promise you, we've got to be more active. We've got to work harder when it comes to election time, making sure we're putting ag-friendly people on our town council. They talk about wanting farmland preservation. They think about wanting the farms to stay in Mills River. They want Mills River to be like it's always been. Well, actions like this concern me. Actions like bringing up that road project again, that concerns me. But I've got some real concerns, and I'm nervous about my kids' future. I guarantee you this man right here beside me is concerned about his kids and his grandkids' future. We want to be able to conserve agriculture and make sure our kids and grandkids can do what we do if they should so choose.
Just like, right here on the prohibited on the back page, new ag structures and floodway. Say I rent a piece of land, that's never been tomato, it's been corn. Where do I go to say, hey, I'm going to put a drip pump here? I'm going to put a cover over. Who's going to be ahead of that in Mills River?
So
Have you appointed anybody yet to what I call watch us?
So the planning and zoning department will be enforcing ordinances just like they do now with things. One thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that we are in the middle of a UDO project. So basically, and Mr. Lemkus is on the steering committee for that. And basically, we're taking all of our ordinances and trying to make them make sense with each other, that everything is easy to find, that it all works for what we are doing now. So with this ordinance, it will be codified in the UDO, so this is just sort of the beginning place. So I think the questions you have are great, and I'm going to record them. And to your earlier question of how do you get other staff here, making requests prior to the meeting, I can get people here. Mr. Malachek, our planning director, is at a training right now, so he would not have been able to attend today. But if there is a topic and there's someone specific you want to have in this room, you can just let me know and we will arrange that for you. Does that help? But I do want to take your questions today so I can take them to the right person and get you responses.
Yeah, I'll go on the record saying we've got something this important that's on our agenda, staff needs to be in the meeting.
Okay.
So that's a permanent request from this day moving forward. When we have an ag advisory meeting, we expect town staff to be here. I think we need to send a directive to town council. We had a meeting this morning. Where's staff at to answer our questions?
You make that a motion.
I'm making a motion.
I second.
So who is the second? I'm so sorry.
I said, wait.
Yeah, okay, both of you were going, so I just want to make sure.
It was second.
Okay. And that to have staff at every meeting.
At every meeting, when there is an item discussed, like it's flood board.
Thank you.
Or zoning or.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
This unlimited filling of ag land, what does that mean? You can't fill any more 100-year floodplain.
Well, we don't know what it means, so there's no definition.
Well,
behind it.
this is, there is a definition, don't
Okay,
be
Yeah.
careful.
I'm sorry.
Somewhere in
This
here,
is just a summary. So if you wanna look at the language, it's in here.
yeah, somewhere.
The point that we tried to make to town council when this was up for discussion, that we wanted an agriculture statute. We got a partial thing, which makes it more complicated, period. And that's what it. I don't know, it's what. We've made it very clear to town council when they discussed this, what the request from the Ag Advisory Committee and from agriculture in general was. Then us from this regulation, it just makes it more complicated. We're glad that they didn't go with the National Flood Insurance Plan, because that would have been 10 times worse. But it's still not what we were asking. I don't know what. Right now, that what we just basically say we're disappointed, but this makes it very difficult for agriculture to, like Kirby said, change piece of property from corn to tomatoes when you have to put irrigation in town. That's new. You have, I'm sure, pieces where you got the same issue.
Have we, Bert, have we ever, as the agriculture committee, have we ever made a recommendation to town hall or to the council that they had went with till now? We may have, I don't know. Have we ever made a recommendation to town council that they have not adopted and accepted until now? Is this the first time? That's my question. Wayne probably knows the answer.
I doubt I know,
I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm just,
I don't know.
I don't remember one, but not saying there wouldn't be.
I don't remember either, and the last piece of discussion with current town council was the widening four-lane, five-lane, one. We basically got all recommendations for it, except my majority. And
Right. I mean, I don't, since I've been on this committee, I don't know how many years I've been on it, but this is the first one I remember. And I just wonder kind of why. I mean, they started out with 11 homeowners. That's where this whole thing got started, with 11 homeowners. Does everybody remember that? 11 people complained because we didn't have a flood insurance program.
I'm a little bit concerned, Mr. Chairman, of the information, and I expressed my displeasure to council. I guess it was 2 meetings ago, the night that I spoke. MPO was here, presented a traffic study. It was all I could do to sit there and keep my mouth closed. I know I respond to these wrecks on Highway 280. That report was embarrassing. I was on the phone with the chief of Mills River Fire Department the next morning, and I expressed my concern to him. He too has shared that concern. The fire department, the sheriff's department were not consulted in that study. That was based, my understanding is, statistics or reports that were turned in at Raleigh. But that information was presented to council and to their community, and that was not accurate. Same thing with the report that was presented to us in our last Ag Advisory meeting. And I said it and went on record, that was a poor presentation. A lot of gray area, a lot of gray area. And my concern is that, you're right, this is a partial exemption. Ag exemption is very important to the farmers of the Mills River community if we're going to be able to keep farming. Council's going to have to stand with us. If they have problems with individual farmers or individual actions, those need to be man to man, face to face. That's the way you do things. You don't punish the entire community and the entire farming community. I'm very disappointed, and I hope that they're all 5 watching this. I'm very disappointed in the 3 that went with this. Very disappointed. And they're friends of mine. I love them. A couple of them have farmland that I farm. But I'm very disappointed in some of the actions, and I feel like I'll just be honest with you, I feel like there's a burr under some saddles towards agriculture. We need to get that worked out. We need to get that took care of. We need to have some face-to-face discussions, small group discussions, whatever we need to do. But I'm disappointed council. And I'm disappointed again. I want to reiterate, I'm disappointed in staff not being here this morning in this meeting. I had a lot to do today. Kirby had a lot to do today. Bradley did. All y'all did. Dave did. Wayne. But we're here because we care about agriculture. We care about our community.
Well, it's our livelihood
Yes, sir.
right here. And it's just, if you look at the prohibited right now, I'm under one. I'm gonna have to, that's why I asked you who's ahead of that. I'm getting ready to put a cover over one of my drip pumps, which is 68 foot off the river. And this thing, I can't do it. And you gotta figure, I just spent 112,000 because Helene ruined that system down there. I had to replace the whole thing. Well, I'm gonna darn sure cover it. But, this right here, I can't without going to somebody and saying, why? Well, if you got somebody that's not farm oriented, I mean, I wouldn't put it there. It's gonna get, messed up, especially if a tree comes out of the river and hits that particular structure. But it's something that I've got to do to protect the money that's underneath it. But, yeah, I'm disappointed.
Is there a definition,
There's
Kirby?
a lot of gray area in this particular
Kirby,
thing right there.
definition in structures, you talking about a pole barn, is that a structure? You're talking about a tent, is that a structure? What
It's just like you where you're pumping over there on the river.
structure, is there a definition?
The
Is there
next
any that got-
time Supersod, say you buy another 100 acres of land and you want to put one of them drip pumps,
Sure.
to run your center pivot, we're gonna have to go to somebody. And like he said, if they got spurs against agriculture, I've done this before. They, if there's any guideline in shutting you down, they will shut you down.
A structure in the wall, roof, building, manufactured home, gas leakage or liquefied gas or cold storage tank that is substantially above ground. That's the definition of structure.
Okay,
Mr. Lucas, if you'd also look at accessory structure, the top of the definitions, that does address the pole barn.
So if
Read that, please.
accessory structure, pertinent structure means a structure located on the same parcel of property as the principal structure, use of which is resembled to the use of the principal structure. Garages, carports, and storage sheds are common accessory structures. Pole barns, hay sheds, the like qualify as accessory structures on farms. May or may not be located on the same parcel as the farm dwelling in California.
so that's defining a pole barn as a structure. Everything you've listed there is considered a structure. That's pretty disappointing.
Well, and that's why we asked for an exemption on agriculture.
Well, and it shouldn't be under prohibited. Maybe we need to come up here and just get a,
Well, be careful with this summary, because, you know, when you're talking about really getting into the details, if you have an existing structure, you can repair it.
But I don't have a
You can't
structure.
expand.
But he doesn't even have a structure.
Yeah, I don't
If
have
you
a
don't
structure.
have a structure, then yeah, you go,
I have to go to somebody over here and take them over to
Yeah.
the river and say, this is what I want to do. Well,
that process should be fairly simple, is what I'm hoping. We come here and the application for a structure for you, hopefully is very simple. A site visit, a sign off. Allow you to continue.
Wouldn't bet my phone is fighting you, John Wayne said,
That word's in here too.
Wayne, you was involved in the beginning. How did the best of your knowledge, how did the first ordinance read of the town of Mill River about agriculture?
You got it in your pocket today? Hold it out last time we brought it up.
all it is, it's gonna be, it's all that. Like, wow, you have that.
That, is Wayne Hawk.
That ordinance may have changed, but I think we all need a copy of the ordinance. You need a copy of the ordinance. And everything that council does should refer back to that ordinance unless they're thinking of changing it. Because otherwise, then the ordinances won't codify. But why would you have to ask for an exemption for agriculture? For anything, if that's one of the town ordinances already, that they're not gonna do anything that's gonna hurt agriculture any more than state or federal laws require. So, just a question, if that still is the ordinance.
We need to find out if they change. Now, since this is not participating in the federal floodplain ordinance, then federal floodplain ordinance don't apply to this. This is something that Mills River has copied and pasted from 25 different townships or whatever. But if their ordinance says that they can't do this, then how can they do it? I guess that's where this question comes from.
I like, David's positive thinking that it should be a simple process if you do have to get a permit. But what if it's not a simple process? What if they say no to your permit? What if they say, well, you need, cause we're not qualified engineers, you've got to get an engineer and you've got to come up with a plan and submit your plan. Then you miss a growing season while you're trying to get a plan together and spending a lot of money to meet the town's requirement for you to get permitted for something as simple as a covered, pump station.
I'd like to make one statement that I picked up at the public hearing from the town attorney, saying that I think New River Council, you're fine to go with this ordinance. Just because, like I say, that's what they're doing. Doing it. And I know it wasn't. This ordinance right here, you're hiding behind public safety. Is it correct? What you said, it should still be an ordinance. If it's not, where'd it go?
Well, Wayne, I agree with you, but when you talk about when you mentioned 191, you got the state of North Carolina sitting here saying, you know, a 4-lane with a turning lane's a death trap, but they still voted against that. So how the hell is that public safety? North Carolina wanted the concrete meter, and they voted against it, so I don't know if they use public safety in their argument.
Well, they did in this ordinance. right
Oh,
now.
I understand, yeah.
So Linda, and
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer, some of the questions that you were asking about consulting with town staff is actually in the FAQ section, that last page. So you may want to review that a little bit.
Um, so this is a summary of the ordinance. And the intent of the ordinance is not to regulate agriculture like main farming activity, as long as they are directly related to farming license. However, any activity that creates a significant change in the topography or the elevation of farmland could be considered a facility, which is regulated by the ordinance. Any activity that is not related to farm use will be regulated by the ordinance, including preparation of farm product, future non-agricultural. When we try to get overall exemption for agriculture, we mentioned that it's the interpretation that's always a problem. Significant change in topography. What is significant? I think a quarter of an inch is significant. You think a foot is significant. So it's the interpretation. We made that point to town council before they tabled the meeting, the hearing, and they came back multiple days later, and it didn't pass with the agriculture exemption. It's just clear that this will make it more common. Period. But what do we think is the best step for us?
Well, I'd love to go back to the original town ordinance that they put in 2012 or whenever it was, but obviously that's not gonna happen.
One thing I worry about now is now, but when Jason's kids and the next generation get here, this can be interpreted to shut you down.
Yes, sir.
What little it is, and they gave us assistance, but like I said, I've always worried, I don't worry about it, just like when we started this township, it was all for farmers. And it's already, they've allowed 1,800 apartments right over there next to a 235 acre farm that I'm gonna have to put up with the next generation. You know, and I've been through this in Homestead, Florida. It is you know, somebody will call, out of that many people, you're gonna have 2 people or 15 people that hate farming, that think us as farmers are killing them, don't realize that if that's the case, why are we not dead? I've sprayed stuff that would kill a bird and fly when I was 16, 17 years old. And I'm still sitting here talking at 65, but educating them. But everything that Mills River has done, I haven't seen much towards agriculture. It's always taken away, taken away, taken away. And this right here is that's a nail in the coffin for farming in the western or in Mills River 20 years. Yeah, they took all the good land, you know, to farm. We're all on floodplain, and like you said, with weather change the way it is, we are getting more floods. I can't grow tomatoes and squash. I give my land, all the floodplain land, to Bradley, and he's taking a hit. What's your average yield this year? Right. You know, people don't realize all them houses, water runs downhill. I don't care where it is. So if you build a development, it's going to be wetter below it somewhere. And it's that alone is putting agriculture out. You know, like I said, Flavor First is looking at Elking and the Virginia, North Carolina, Mount Airy area for our next generation, because we know it's not Mills River, unfortunately.
On top of that, there's another public hearing. Property. I request for which is water, land off the bridge 280, which runs down into the river or out.
They're even looking at Philip Whitaker's place to buy, which would put it all the way over the mountain onto the other side. Don't tell me that's not going to affect Mills River, the watershed area.
One thing,
But yet they'll get it done because they pay a big tax base. Guarantee you within 3 years, they'll be doing that project.
and then again, we'll have to probably speak up against that annexation because it's more restricted outside of the town than it's inside. For development.
Say it again.
There's, it's the, Fulham property
Yeah, Fulham property.
Okay.
goes over the mountain.
Right. Yeah.
Goes
I know what
outside
you're
of
talking
town.
about, but you're saying more restrictive or less restrictive?
It's, if you go into town, it's less restrictive
In the county.
than your.
I had it backwards in my mind, but okay, I mean. Say, looks to me like this goes, anything to do with agriculture goes against Mills River's first town ordinance, looks to me like it. We'll go back to that.
Okay, so how do we wanna put this back on the table at that council?
Well, I mean, it's voted on, what we gotta do to get it brought back up? That's my question, start with.
I'm kind of like Jason. I think before we go on any further with this, we need to get town council and sit down and have a one-on-one. You know, I'd like to ask them a question. I'm getting ready to build a structure over in floodway, much less floodplain. You know, with this, I truly cannot do it without somebody in the town of Mills River telling me I can't. That's just one of many, you know what I mean? That's just what I'm facing right now in the next 3 months. Which if I do it quick, before the ordinance goes in, I guess.
Now, the ordinance is in effect for,
Oh,
They voted on it Monday night, I'm assuming it was okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would encourage those 3 that voted against the ag exemption to spend some time with a farmer. get out here and get in the field, get your boots dirty, get a little dirt on your fingernails. Let's get out here and look at some of these things. I can show you. I wish they could have seen some of the damage that we all had from the hurricane and what we've had to do just to keep going. I tell you, I'm real disappointed.
Well,
Real
I-
disappointed.
If I get one of them out there, if you put 3 or 4 bags of trash out on your back porch, he'll volunteer to come Saturday and check them out for you.
Okay, but
Sorry, I couldn't help.
Jason, but how are we gonna do that? Because you don't want the whole town council to come out. No more.
I think we all have to work on our relationships with the with the council. I think we just gotta continue to work, and build relationships, educate. They all know that they've got an open invitation at my farm anytime. You know, the last thing I want is I want to have a good relationship with the town of Mills River. It's important to me. They know if they call me, I'll be here. I'll send every bit of manpower I've got, every tractor I've got, will be right here helping the town of Mills River, whatever we got to do. But we've all got to take it upon ourselves to establish and continue to build, foster those relationships. We've got to educate and advocate for what we do. We've got to teach them about dairy farming. We've got to teach them about row crop farming. They've got to have a full understanding of what we do and the challenges we face.
I think a good start would be to get a couple of them to Kirby's property and take a look at a simple structure. Just step one, let's find something that, just the first step. That's a legit reason that this. is not that
That's why I was asking who's gonna be the head
one
of
or
that,
two,
to
take them to that.
who I can go and actually take
Take
them
them
out
30
there and
minutes.
say, all right, this is what I wanna do. Can I do it?
Floodplain administrator or is that?
Michael Mallett, that's the planning director. So if you'd like to invite town council out to visit, you'll have to do 2 at a time max, because 3 is a quorum, which would then be a public meeting, in which case anyone could come. But we can create something, you know, I can certainly let town council know that you're inviting them out. And if you have a plan as to, you know, whose property or something like that, to help coordinate, including Mr. Malachek and Mr. Webb, you know, whoever is appropriate for those pieces, as this is developing, because again, this is all, you know, new.
And, you know, I'm going to repeat something I said earlier. You know, in talking with some of the sitting council members, they're disturbed and upset about unlimited filling of ag land. Well, Kirby just got through talking about what's going on over there next to his 253 acre farm. Been filled. Now he's got condominiums overlooking his fields. Gonna be getting complaints every day over there. So we have some of the same concerns, but we need to talk about these things. And if they've got problems with, you know, with things that are going on, that they need to be dealt with on an individual basis. You can't punish the entire ag community for one thing that you disagree with or don't like. I hope I'm making sense. I don't know how to explain that any further, but we just need to, again, continue to work with our council, educate them. I agree with what Mr. Schaefer said. I think that's an excellent idea, Dave. Get them over there and show them exactly. Make sure they have a full understanding of what it takes. I mean, a question, a simple question. How am I going to chemigate and fertigate without fuel tanks, without supply tanks out there in the field? You know, some of this is to me, I know we just experienced a terrible natural disaster in Helene. I know that there's a lot of actions being taken, and I don't want to call them knee-jerk reactions. I want to think that we're thinking through all of these things, and we all do need to be mindful and do the very best we can do. If it's going to rain, if they're giving flood warnings and all, then we need to be getting everything off the riverbank. We don't need to be leaving stuff in flood-prone areas. I agree with that, you know. But a lot of it goes back to to common sense. And I just think that you accomplish a whole lot more by incentivizing, and being positive, handling things the right way versus regulatory regulations and fines and complaint-driven investigations. I said that last night at the county planning board meeting. I just don't think regulations and rules that are this thick that you can't ever get with gray area, and it's just not a good thing. But Mr. Chairman, I think that we need to put this in writing to council that we're very disappointed with this, and we want to have them refocus on that ordinance that Wayne and Jimmy have mentioned, that the town of Mills River made it very clear upon incorporation that they would not make it hard on agriculture,
That-
exempt
Any
agriculture.
regulation on state.
State. Send them that word for word. I would love, and I challenge council to address it publicly. I asked them to that night. Look at that. Give that ordinance a vote of confidence. Do something publicly, formally, to reiterate and restate that ordinance and stand behind it. If they want agriculture and farming in Mills River, put the action in place.
So, two things. One, take that as basically a letter from Ag Advisory Committee. That's one thing. But the next thing is that letter is gonna show up the agenda, and that's it. It's gonna be read. So, we gotta be at that town council. Because, I don't know. I tried at both parts of the hearing, the start and finally the finish, but there's only so many times you can say the same thing. But if different people say the same thing, maybe that has more impact.
There's something else we can do too. We need to be thinking about, are any of us willing to run for council? And we can vote. We can vote. And I say that very strongly. We've got to keep ag-friendly folks on our council. We need to be talking in the farming community. We need to be talking to farmers.
And we constantly need word in agriculture.
Correct.
In farm.
Correct.
And that's the one thing I want to say, that this right here is an insult. I was just counting up 7 fuel tanks between Valley Hill and here. I didn't lose one during, Helene. Common sense is like you said, I'm not gonna put a fuel tank. I might have it on wheels down there in a field next to the river, but it's coming out with me even that night. I don't even take no chance. But, same way, I'd love to just have them out there and show them the pictures of the 2 of the town councilmen, and ask whoever the guy that's gonna say it, I go, all right, put this back. You're looking at this picture. What can I do to fix that legally without getting somebody mad? What I worry about is, just like I said, you've got 1,600 to 1,800 people living up here. You're gonna have 8 that hate farming. They think that we're killing them. And all you gotta do is call, and they gotta come check us. I've been through this in Florida from 1980 to 2000, to the point of where I quit farming down there. I still farm down there, but I don't farm. But 10 years from now, this is going to be a problem for the next generation of farmers if we don't do something about it. And educate people that farming, we got a little bit of common sense. I want to hand my land to my grandson better than my daddy handed it to me. And believe me, you see, I've already planted 200 something acres of rye. I don't have to do that. That's a direct cost to my farm. You know what I mean? For no amount of value, but I have enough sense it's putting nitrogen and it's keeping my soil in North Carolina, not Tennessee.
I said, and I'll say it again, I said to council that night in public comment, I said, there's 3 groups of people in this community historically, presently, that you can always count on. That's our community churches, That's our community fire department and our community farmers. Everybody agree with that statement?
Yes. How many tractors you loaned to, Mills River doing Helene? I lived,
Yes,
Valley Hill had one of mine.
yes, sir.
And believe me, before the storm come, I called Tim, I said, get a tractor up there in case you gotta go through high water. Nobody asked me to do that. It's called common sense, and like you said,
Doing what's right.
farmers take care of the county and the people.
Send a letter. With appointed, make clear. This, then, and maintain that of agriculture. Non-state. regulations, as was originally. agreed. Sure. Do that, then, again, that I, like, maybe that everybody take their meeting. Open there. With stories that we have out and the importance that is exemption has for agriculture in. That makes sense. Because I think that's about the only thing we can do. The government relations outside of town council, that's a daily job, right? We
Yes, sir.
all do that.
Yes, sir.
Making this point clear. So there's gonna be more than just meeting, but that's where we'll also have to be very clear that this is what we had hoped for, expected.
Mr. Lindquist, to clarify, you'd like the letter to express your disappointment. Go back to the ordinance, state what it originally said. Would you like to include an invitation to town council at the same time, or do you want to do that verbally? Because when this is on the agenda, you as the chair or the vice chair can come up and speak about it too. I just want to clarify for what you want.
Well, you can put in there that there's no. Farming properties. Would it make sense, Irving, do you have a plan in red for that irrigation system that you want to install?
Not quite yet, but I get those buildings that's kind of, you know what I'm talking about. In fact, they're installing one for me in Mills River, in Valley Hill right now, but it's out of floodplain. But, I will have a plan. In other words, the cement pads there, nothing's changing on that different thing. I'm just gonna put up a cover over. Which, like I said, I know I'm gonna lose it eventually if the wrong situation, but the way my drip pump is, the water goes to Bradley's side. So unless a big tree or something hits that particular thing, it'll always be there, and it's flow through. In other words, there's no petitions to stop the water. That's why I'd love to have the guy that does this out there, because I've been in the instance of asking somebody, and the guy that gives the permit has no idea what I'm talking about. Same way, like I said, I want to show him before pictures of that one big blowout. And how do I address this a year from now, being this ordinance is in place? You know? Which if you look over here, it's got repair, you know, in the allowed part.
Mhm.
We get, you know, so maybe we don't have to worry about that. We just have to do our normal state regulation.
I think there's, this is probably the response we're gonna get from some members of that council. There's enough exemptions for agriculture. Point is, it makes it so much more complicated because it is this partial exemption. This you can do, that you cannot do, this you can do, there you cannot build, you can maintain. It just makes it a lot more complicated. And I think that's the part where we go back to, we would like to maintain the exemption for agriculture beyond state and federal.
There again, that question you asked me, do you have a plan? I got a plan of calling John Henry,
Got a
measuring
plan.
the side, and him ordering it, and Right now, they're 15 to 18 days putting it up. That's my plan. Now, if I go to the man that does this, he's gonna, where's your plan? I go, right here. And you call, you know what I mean? So you would have to go get a draftsman to draft it up and present it to the town to build a $6,000 structure over it. That's not gonna be pole, it'll be metal. You know,
Money and time.
And it turned into a cliff out
right, time you get all the, and you know, like I say, I don't worry about right now. Everything's kind of cool. This is gonna pass, but 10 years from now, that will be a problem. You know what I mean?
So that's where we go back. to the
Right.
simple Quest for maintaining the. So if that is okay with the committee that we put that in play with council, will you notify us when that's on the agenda?
Yes, the next meeting is on the 23rd. I can see if I can get it on there. Otherwise, it will be November 13th. I'll partner with you on making sure the wording is the way you would like. But I'll get in contact with you later today and let you know what our town manager thinks that we can get on the agenda. With the annexation coming up, I will just say it's gonna be a very busy meeting.
Yeah.
This one, the next meeting is much, much lighter.
Probably be better wait till after the take focus away from what we really want to talk about. So it better to put it on the 13th.
And that's the only meeting in November as of right now.
So uh, 13.
What's the meeting after the 13th? There one in December?
It would be December, I want to say,
11.
is that second piece, December 11th, yeah.
I'll be walking to the full knee placement.
That
Oh,
goes
that's
good
big.
for us. That goes good.
Dude, I wanna get Wayne to drive me around for a month.
I'll come
He said I couldn't drive.
11 wax got surgery.
Put that off.
Yeah, and she did.
Vice.
You know, I would, but I'm just not really good at that. If we could have somebody else do it, I'd be here in support 100%, but Kirby or Jason. Brad.
No, because I'm too argumentative.
Jason will be the one.
Jason could do it. Is that allowed?
And we need to be here, period.
I'll
You know,
verify with the town
Oh,
manager.
yeah, well, I'll be here.
Yeah,
Jason could do it, or the board will give permission, Jimmy Cowan could do it, but no, I can't do it. I can't.
I'll be honest, I'm too shy.
At least I'll know.
Jason, are you willing to take that role?
Yes, sir, but I'd also, let's consider putting it on this first meeting coming up. I know it's gonna be a long meeting, a lot going on, but let's consider that. That way you could be here that day, correct? Could everyone else be
Talking about the one.
Well,
the next meeting?
Because
yeah. You're on that one, then wants opinion, this and that and other. They're gonna table it anyway. We all know that. So they're gonna vote on it later, you know.
we'll do, we will do the 23rd.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're gonna table it anyway. They could take us first or last.
23rd,
Right.
what month?
October.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, November 6th when I get it, so I'll be good.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Dowdy,